Hello and welcome. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our election special series Battleground 2021, wherein we get you a detailed analysis of election news and views from the poll-bound states. Now, continuing with our analysis of election manifestos of political parties, today we will take a look at the promises made by various parties through their manifestos in Kerala. We will also be joined by senior journalists from the state to understand the ground situation in a much better way. Now, the elections for the 140-member Kerala Assembly will be held on 6th of April. The counting of votes will take place on 2nd of May. The LDF and the UDF have held power in the state alternatively over the last 4 decades. In the 2016 Assembly elections, the LDF won after gaining a majority of 91 out of 140 seats. Now, with just a few days to go for the first phase of voting in 2021 Assembly elections, all big political parties have released their manifestos outlining their priorities and future course of action. Now, the Congress-led United Democratic Alliance is looking to unseat the Left Democratic Front from power this time and has accordingly promised a number of things in its manifesto. Reaching out to the vast majority of women voters, the front has assured a 2 years age relaxation for mothers appearing for exams for government jobs. The UDF manifesto also promises to create a Ministry of Happiness in Kerala. Now, the ruling Left Democratic Front manifesto makes several welfare promises, mainly focusing on employment for Kerala's youth as well as rehabilitation of NRIs who have returned to the state due to the pandemic. The manifesto also includes some ambitious promises, including 40 lakh jobs, pension for the state's female homemakers, and this time both the fronts face a challenge from Bharatiya Janata Party, which is hoping to raise its vote share and form a government in the southern state. Now, the BJP manifesto focuses on Kerala's historic development, holistic development with provision for jobs, terror and hunger-free state. Since these promises are what the parties are seeking votes on, let us now start the show wherein we will try and understand the actual impact of these promises on the ground in terms of how easily or keenly the voters are taking to these promises. And to understand things much better, we're joined by expert panel of two distinguished journalists. Let me first introduce them to you. We have with us Mr. Ganapathy Subramaniam. Also, we're joined by Mr. Vinod Nedumudy from Kochi. He is principal correspondent with Deccan Chronicle and has been keeping a close watch on the state of affairs in Kerala this time around, specifically with respect to the assembly elections. Let me start with you, Mr. Vinod, and let's understand the ground situation vis-a-vis these manifestos. And the first question which I would like to ask you, and we would like to understand things much better, is how different are these manifestos of UDF and LDF from the previous elections and obviously the BJP as well?
In fact, Kerala Battleground has been witnessing this phenomenon of releasing manifestos in a very pompous manner. But I think the electorate of Kerala, they don't take so seriously the manifestos being released at the election time, because basically there is no auditing. I mean, alternatively, these fronts have been ruling the state for the past 40 years. So now I think you can hear the beating of the campaigning going on here. So these fronts have been raising these promises so long, but there has been no auditing or no progress report. They don't dare to say that we have met the promises in the past tenure. We have met these kinds of promises in the past tenure. So we are the most authentic, reliable combination. So you should elect us. So and the electorate of Kerala also, they don't rely too much on these election manifestos. Basically, it's a political battle that is taking place in Kerala. So as usual, this manifesto releasing has happened. But I think the battle is more political. But you can see that it is welfare that is more given importance by the manifestos this time by the UDF and LDF. And interestingly, LDF in the political domain, the most prominent issue that is coming up is the Sabrimala issue. And LDF wants to put it in the back burner. They don't want to flare it up. But UDF, because they could gain much in the, they could win 19 out of the 20 seats because of the 2019 because of Sabrimala issue in the 2019 election. So they want to stick on to that Sabrimala thing now. And interestingly, UDF doesn't put forth its promise of total prohibition or something like that, which it raised in the last election. Their last tenure, because they know that now it is not going to sell, because the LDF reversed all these policies. So it's a political battle actually taking place, and the welfare measures they are promising. I think it won't cut much ice with the people of the Kerala, people of the state. So let us see this time how it turns out to be.
Okay. We'll come to the specifics there as well, Mr. Vinod. Let me also bring in Mr. Subramaniam here. Mr. Ganapathy, Subramaniam, in your views, what are the key takeaways from all these three manifestos? What's the common thread which we are looking at here in terms of the major issues in the Kerala Assembly election this time around, if we have to take a cursory look at all these three manifestos?
The LDF coalition is in power now. Earlier, the UDF coalition was in power. So the third contestant in this election, the BJP, has not been in power. So the BJP has taken a different route by promising Vikas, that is development. They have said that development will give more growth to the state and employment to the people of the state. So therefore, they are saying that we will give you good governance, we will give you good economic growth, and because of that, employment and all other aspects will improve. On the other hand, both left front as well as the UDF are trying to give incentives. Like, for example, agriculture loans will be written off, or 5,000 rupees ex gratia will be given to auto rickshaw drivers, or maybe saying that scooters will be given at half the price. So there are many freebies on their list, but they carry the legacy of corruption. Now, left front has been tainted because of the gold import scam, or rather gold smuggling scam. And then earlier the UDF solar scam, that was like Sarita Nair and solar scam. Everybody in Kerala knows about it. So while they are hitting out at each other with these scams and corruption issues, the BJP is trying to say, let me take the development plank. That is why they brought in Metro Man, Sridharan, very clean image with no corruption at all, and he is supposed to be a major champion fighting corruption. So therefore, their angle is, we will give you corruption-free government, we will give you good development and good economic growth. Because of that economic growth, employment will also improve. Why this is important is because due to COVID, lot of expats are returning to Kerala. Lot of Kerala people working in, say, the Gulf region or many other parts of the world had to return to India, and they are not in a situation to go back now. Who will give them employment? That is why BJP is now promising that we will give you growth, and along with that growth, employment for the people of Kerala, especially the youth of Kerala.
Okay. Mr. Vinod, now that Mr. Subramaniam has pointed out the youth aspect, I wanted to go there. And if you're looking at these manifestos, then clearly the focus seemingly is to woo the young voters. And by young voters, we're not only looking at the first-time voters, in that category of youth from 18 to 40 maybe, and the focus there seems to be on generating employment opportunities. Even the rural ruling party talks about generating 40 lakh, employment opportunities there, and so does the other, opposition parties as well, including, the Congress there, and the BJP is also hinting towards that. So, from what we understand from these manifestos, youth seemingly is the flavor of the season in Kerala this time around.
Yeah, that's a correct observation. In fact, prior to the election, I mean, just before the announcement of the election, a very serious, a line of agitations were held in front of the secretariat, the seat of power in Trivandrum. That is Trivandrum. So people, they wanted, youngsters, they wanted to, the government was, there enough youth were not given employment from the PSC rank list. The PSC rank lists were cancelled, and this led to agitation from the opposition, UDF and BJP, and people with, people without any party affiliation, PSC rank holders association, they held the agitation in front of the secretariat, and it was a big issue. So unemployment is a big issue in Kerala. So basically, there is a lack of industrial development in Kerala, and there is an allegation that temporary appointments, appointees in the government organizations, PSUs all, they were confirmed in the service in the last days of the ruling front. So, of course, this is a burning issue. This unemployment is a burning issue. So, the LDF is trying to take them into their hold, and UDF is trying to win their support. But it is again, you cannot say that the LDF is devoid of the support of the youth, or UDF has all the support of the youth. Okay. It is a very, very tricky situation. So, but as you said, youth is a very prime target in Kerala, but not youth alone. The poor people, the welfare schemes are targeted at the poor people. You may be aware that the kits are being distributed, the kits for the past 1 year, I think, after the COVID situation. The kits have been distributed in the state. That was a big issue for the poor. The LDF say it is a big relief for the poor. So they say that the kit scheme is extended till April, till the election. So one of the main reasons for the landslide, the major victory of LDF in the local body election was this kit distribution. Okay. So that's a kind of scene here. So both youth and poor, these two segments are being targeted.
Definitely. These are two very important segments there, and we'll have to wait and see whether, the LDF will be able to continue that goodwill into the assembly elections as well, and repeat the performance, if something which they would want to do, and break this cycle of alternative power sharing with the UDF in the state every 5 years. But another segment there, Mr. Vinod, and I'd like to bring you in again, is women voters. And in both, these major fronts here, the LDF and UDF have focused on women in the state in their manifestos, while the Congress has once again, spoken about its Nyaya scheme and giving 2,000 rupees to every full-time, housewife in the state. On the other hand, the LDF is talking about, giving age relaxation to mothers in, the government job. So, different ways of saying the same thing out there, you believe?
You have seen both the manifestos. It is divided into segments. You can see agriculture, farmers, agricultural laborers, then differently abled students, children, women, housewives, pensioners, then people without any income, elder citizens, patients, Anganwadi workers, those without house, ration card holders, the income guarantee scheme program, this workers. I mean, they both LDF and UDF manifesto, they have segmented in people into different layers, and they have targeted in a very systematic way with their schemes. And I think BJP will also come out with the same kind of strategy in Kerala. This segmentation, this is a very important aspect in this welfare freebie, or what should I say, freebie. But the major problem that we should not miss in this debate, that the major issue is that whether the state coffer, the state exchequer has the ability to deliver these promises, whether it has the power to deliver this promise. That is the major issue. And if you have time, I will tell you.
Okay, please, definitely, we'll come to that aspect as well, because that's a major question mark in the neighboring state of Tamil Nadu as well, wherein the state is already in debt, but there are a lot of promises being made by all parties. I'd like to bring Mr. Subramaniam here on these two aspects. Young voters and women voters obviously would be the target of the BJP there as well in the state. How do you think, Mr. Subramaniam, the BJP is trying to approach these two segments and ensure that, they can have their base support in these two sections of the society?
See, the BJP government at the center has already offered 6,000 rupees per annum to farmers. So that money has been going in installments of 2,000 rupees 3 times a year. That has made a major impact and has also had a significant impact in the 2019 Lok Sabha election. So therefore, many parties are now trying to adopt a similar kind of approach by promising freebies to either housewives or to unemployed youth or various different categories of people. Similarly, there is this Ayushman Bharat scheme, which now the LDF is saying that they will also give a lot of subsidies for healthcare. In Kerala, if we look at it, Kerala is a state which has a very high literacy rate, the best in India. And because of that, the political awareness is also high. So despite this awareness and also despite their good health infrastructure, COVID spread has been a major issue, has not been contained so far. One of the states with the high infection rates. Secondly, because of that, there has been a lot of people returning from various countries and there is unemployment. Then there are scams, and because of the scams, both UDF and LDF have been accused of mismanagement or poor management. So therefore, what you pointed out and what Mr. Vinod said is very important. Does the Kerala state government have enough finances to bankroll all these schemes, which is very difficult? There has been no investment coming into the industrial sector in Kerala. No big manufacturing industries are coming up. Only some service industries are there. Thankfully, tourism and other areas were doing well, but because of COVID, they have been affected. Then the traditional industries are there, like coir, cashew, rubber, fisheries. Many of those sectors are also now seeing the pinch of consumers holding back their spending. Therefore, it will be very interesting to see in this election how these freebies work and whether people will actually believe, because people of Kerala are politically very aware and their literacy levels are very high. So therefore, they may not easily believe all these promises, and they may actually look forward to promises which can be actually be implemented on ground, and maybe they will look at good governance and issues like that. Other political issues, like Mr. Vinod said, like Sabarimala is a very sensitive issue in Kerala, because of which the UDF managed to sweep the Lok Sabha election while the LDF suffered. Now the challenger, BJP, is just one MLA in the assembly. So therefore, they have nothing to lose. So they are going all out with Mr. Sridharan and the promise of good governance. It will be interesting to see whether people believe the promise of freebies, which the state government cannot afford, or the promise of good governance, which will bring natural growth and employment.
Okay. Let's hear it from Mr. Vinod as well in the concluding part of this discussion. Mr. Vinod, since you referred to it earlier, how easy or difficult it might be for the winner amongst all these political parties to go ahead and effectively implement these promises of various welfare schemes for different segments of the society, as we have been discussing for past 20 minutes. Once they are in power, given the state of affairs of the state exchequer there. And also the other part of it, how difficult or easy it might be for these political parties to convince the voters of regarding these welfare schemes.
See, in fact, Kerala witnessed this, we call it Tamil Nadu model, freely giving TV sets or soaps or whatever it is, washing machine, or we call it Tamil Nadu model. This was first experimented this time in Kerala with the kit distribution. This kit distribution was a significant success for the LDF government, and it in fact became a hot topic of debate in Kerala. Within the UDF circles and within the LDF circle. That is why it is extended. So, riding on that wave that they have come out with the this thrust on the welfare agenda. That is the pension for the elder citizens, poor people, welfare pensions, and this Nyaya scheme came from UDF. Rahul Gandhi himself directed this thing. So that kind of intervention came because of the success of the kit distribution. So what I can just give you an outline of this economic situation. This Gulati Institute of Taxation and Economics, that is a state government body in Trivandrum. They said that the total expenditure come to 1.44 lakh crore. This budget expenditure, and the committed expenditure on welfare schemes, this pensions, repayment of loan, that will come to alone 1.29 lakh crore.
That's quite a significant amount there.
Yes, 14,000 crore is 15,000 crore is left for investment and other kind of activities. So committed expenditure is so huge. So how can you can those who watch television and newspaper, that the Kerala government is borrowing every day 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore, 3,000, not every day. I'm just telling it in a plain language. 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore in regular intervals. So it's this borrowing is regularly taking place, and the masala bond controversy of 50 and all that. The government investigating.
So clearly, Mr. Vinod, the way you're pointing out the figures, quoting those figures vis-a-vis the budget, it looks very clear that it might be a very difficult task ahead for whosoever wins the election to implement those promises of welfare schemes out there. And we'll have to wait and watch as to how the voters take to these promises which have been made by the LDF, the UDF and the BJP as well. And we'll keep a close watch on that and keep bringing you the detailed analysis and information there also vis-a-vis the assembly elections in the state of Kerala and other states as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Ganapathy Subramaniam, as well as Mr. Vinod, for sharing your views and insights on the manifestos in Kerala assembly elections. And thank you for watching Sunset Television.